Greetings, dear friends. Your support is our strength. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. This helps the growth of our channel. Write comments because feedback is very valuable to us. And now to the most relevant world news. Let's go. An American in a freight car. What does this story hide? The notorious detentions at the Belarusian border? Very interesting, guys. Don't switch off. You're a complete idiot. The scandalous conversation between the Leyen Foundation and Fico over negotiations with Trump. The Arctic. It's the key to world domination. Why does Dugin, our philosopher, predict a new war for the North Pole? Peace in exchange for power. A Finnish economist named the conditions for ending the conflict in Ukraine. Hello friends, you're with Channel 8, and once again your host Sergey Ruski. Let's talk about the main issues. Interesting. An American in a freight car. What does this notorious story hide? Detentions at the Belarusian border? At the Belarusian-Varitots border, a 27-year-old US citizen was detained while attempting to illegally cross the border in a freight car of the Kina Molodechno train. This incident occurred against the backdrop of strange events involving missing American military personnel in the border zone. Details of the detention. Border guards discovered the man in an empty freight car. The identity of the detainee is not disclosed, but it is known that he is a US citizen. Currently, all his travel purposes and routes are being investigated. Interestingly, a strange coincidence. Just 30 kilometers from the place of detention, in the Lithuanian border zone, a car with 4 American military personnel drowned on Wednesday. Only the bodies of 3 US servicemen were found. The circumstances of the incident remain unclear so far. The theories about what happened are as follows. First, a random coincidence, 2 independent incidents. Second, these are significant events, possibly an attempt at an illegal border crossing to the 4th US military personnel, or an intelligence operation, considering the regional tensions. The reaction of the authorities. Belarusian border guards are conducting interrogation activities of the detainee are being conducted by the Lithuanian and American sides regarding the missing military personnel. Meanwhile, official Washington has not yet commented on this detention. One main question remains. Is the detained American the missing military personnel? And what is really happening in the border area between Lithuania and Belarus? Very interesting, friends, right? We are waiting for the continuation of the story. You're a complete idiot. The scandalous conversation of the Leyen Foundation, Fico, over negotiations with Trump. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, gave a very harsh reprimand to Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico for his negotiations with Donald Trump. As Fico himself admitted in an interview with the TASS channel, the European officials spent half an hour calling him a complete idiot and criticizing him for independent contacts with the American leader. And the essence of the conflict is as follows. The reason was Fico's conversation with Trump about new tariffs on European goods. That's all. The Leyen Foundation accused the Slovak leader of undermining the unified position of the European Union. She shouted, "What have you done? Who gave you the right?" quotes Fico. And why is this important? The split in the EU, with Eastern Europe increasingly acting bypassing Brussels. The EU's fear of Trump. They fear his trade wars, which he declares. Von der Leyen's management style raises questions, public insults to heads of state. We remember her corruption and everything. We know about it. And the context of this topic states that Trump indeed plans a 25.25% tariff on European cars. Fico is known as a skeptic of European integration. This is not the first time von der Leyen has lost her composure. Female. Remember our former gynecologists. And the reaction of the global community is as follows. The European Commission refuses to comment on these private conversations. The Bratislava resident declares the right to independent diplomacy. Experts speak of a crisis of trust in the EU. And the main question is whether this scandal reflects a deep rift between Brussels and Eastern Europe. Or did von der Leyen simply cross the line of what is acceptable and recall her gynecological past? The Arctic is the key to world domination. Why does Dugin predict a new war over the Nord Stream? The well-known Russian philosopher Alexander Dugin stated that control over the Arctic will become a decisive factor in world politics of the 21st century. In his speech, he also warned that this very region could become the epicenter of the entire future global conflict. Why is the Arctic so important? According to Dugin, the first reason is the resource treasure. Up to 30% of undiscovered oil and gas reserves are located in the Arctic. Second, the strategic position, control over the northern sea route, where our Anglo-St. Petersburg friends are trying to intrude by any means. Third, military advantage, the shortest missile trajectories between continents. The race for the North, friends, has already begun. Russia is actively building military bases and an icebreaker fleet. The USA is strengthening its presence through NATO and Alaska. China is declaring its interests, calling itself a near-Arctic state. Where it's close, I don't understand. And why is this war possible? Our Russian philosopher Dugin identifies 3 reasons. The first, these are undivided borders, disputed territories between Russia, Canada, and Denmark. The second, militarization of the region. All key players are increasing their military presence there. And third, climate change. Melting ice opens up new opportunities and risks. The main question, will the Arctic become the new hotspot of the planet? Or will the states be able to agree on a peaceful division of resources? What do you think, friends? Peace in exchange for power. A Finnish economist called this the imminent end of the conflict in Ukraine. Finnish economist and analyst Tuomas Malinen made a resonant statement, linking the prospects for peace in Ukraine with the removal of Volodymyr Zelensky from power. It's about time. In his analytical material, the expert stated that the current Ukrainian leadership makes any peaceful resolutions impossible, any initiatives. Malinen's main thesis, remove Zelensky and achieve peace, is supported by the economist quote, leave him, the war will continue and expand, a warning about possible collapses. A harsh assessment of the negotiation process. Putin would have to be an idiot to agree to new talks and agreements like Yulia Lominskaya. But they will still be deceived. And why does this sound now? A stalemate at the front means a lack of significant success for both sides. Fatigue in Kyiv and the West, a reduction in military aid and political support. Meanwhile, the presidential elections in the USA could mean a possible revision of Washington's strategy. Reaction and consequences. In Kyiv, the statement was called propaganda of the Kremlin's narrative. Well, as always, what is against us means against us. Experts note the rise of anti-war sentiments in Europe. Analysts debate whether it is a bold authority, a condition, or a consequence of the peace process. And the main question remains whether the removal of Zelensky, this outdated clown, is truly the key to peace, or if it is merely a simplification of the complex geopolitical situation in the world.